The night sky over New York City was torn apart by a blinding light, leaving the crowd in Times Square in stunned silence. People pointed upwards, mouths agape, as a massive, shimmering object descended from the heavens. The air crackled with an electric charge, the sheer size of the craft dwarfing the city's tallest buildings. Captain Alex Mercer stood in the middle of the chaos, his sharp eyes trained on the descending ship. His mind raced, years of military training and strategic thinking kicking in. He knew this was no ordinary event. His phone buzzed incessantly with emergency alerts, but he ignored them, focusing instead on the unfolding spectacle. A sudden burst of activity snapped Alex back to reality. The alien ship emitted a low, resonant hum that vibrated through the ground. Then, without warning, sleek, metallic drones shot out from the vessel, scattering in all directions. Panic erupted as the drones began to attack, their laser beams slicing through the air with deadly precision. "Get to cover!" Alex shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. He grabbed a nearby civilian, pulling them to safety behind a concrete barrier. His phone buzzed again, this time with a call from General Harris. "Mercer, we need you at the Pentagon, now!" The general's voice was grim. "We're under attack. This is an all-hands-on-deck situation." "I'm on my way," Alex replied, his jaw set with determination. He glanced around, making sure the immediate area was secure before dashing towards his car. At the Pentagon, the atmosphere was tense. Top military officials and scientists filled the war room, their faces etched with concern. Dr. Alara Bennett, a brilliant physicist, stood at the head of the room, her usually composed demeanor replaced with a mix of urgency and fear. "The aliens, we've identified them as Zorathians, have superior technology," Alara began, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "They've made no demands, no communication. Their intent seems clear: total annihilation." Alex took his place at the table, his presence commanding respect. "We need to understand their weaknesses, and fast," he said, looking directly at Alara. "We've managed to capture some preliminary data," Alara continued. "Their drones are networked through a central system on the mothership. If we can find a way to disrupt their communications, we might have a chance." "Then that's our priority," Alex said, his voice resolute. "We need to capture one of those drones intact for study. Alara, you'll head up the analysis team. We need solutions, and we need them yesterday." Alara nodded, her eyes meeting Alex's with a look of determination. "I'll need a secure lab and a team of engineers," she replied. "We don't have much time." As the meeting broke up, Alex couldn't shake the feeling of dread that had settled in his gut. The Zorathians had come without warning, and their intentions were brutally clear. But as he looked around at the dedicated faces of his colleagues, he felt a spark of hope. Humanity had faced extinction before and prevailed. This time would be no different. Outside, the sky was now filled with military aircraft, their engines roaring as they prepared for the counterattack. Alex took a deep breath, steeling himself for the battles to come. The war for Earth had begun, and he was ready to lead the charge. As he walked towards the command center, Alex's mind raced with strategies and contingencies. The weight of responsibility was heavy on his shoulders, but he welcomed it. For every person on the planet, he would fight with everything he had. There were no words needed, just war. The Pentagon's war room was abuzz with frantic activity, but a sudden power outage plunged it into darkness, causing a wave of alarm. Emergency lights flickered on, casting eerie shadows across the faces of the assembled leaders and scientists. The interruption was brief, but its message was clear: the Zorathians had the ability to disrupt Earth's technology at will. Captain Alex Mercer quickly regained his composure, his mind racing with strategies. "Everyone stay focused," he commanded, his voice cutting through the tension. "We can't let them rattle us. Dr. Bennett, what's our next move?" Dr. Alara Bennett stood at a console, her fingers dancing over the keys as she brought up schematics of the Zorathian drones. "We need to capture one of their drones intact," she said, her voice steady but urgent. "Our best chance is to study their tech up close and find a vulnerability." "Understood," Alex replied, turning to his tactical team. We'll set a trap in Sector 7. It's an abandoned industrial area, minimal civilian risk. Gear up and move out in 10. The team moved with precision, gathering their advanced weaponry and preparing for the mission. As they suited up, Alex took a moment to address his soldiers. Listen up, he began, his tone serious. This mission is critical. We're facing an enemy unlike any we've encountered. Stay sharp, work together, and we'll get through this. The convoy of armored vehicles rumbled through the deserted streets of Sector 7, the night air filled with a tense silence. As they reached their destination, Alex and his team deployed, setting up a perimeter and positioning their electromagnetic net, a device designed to disable the drone's propulsion systems. Minutes ticked by with agonizing slowness until a distant hum signaled the approach of a Zorathian drone. The team tensed, weapons at the ready. The drone appeared, sleek and menacing, its lights scanning the area. It hovered closer, oblivious to the trap waiting below. Now! Alex shouted. The electromagnetic net fired, ensnaring the drone in a burst of energy. It sputtered and crashed to the ground, its systems disabled but otherwise intact. The team quickly moved in, securing the drone and transporting it back to the lab. Back at the Pentagon, Alara and her team of engineers worked tirelessly to dissect the drone, uncovering its secrets. As they examined the intricate machinery and advanced materials, Alara's eyes lit up with discovery. Look at this, she said, pointing to a cluster of nodes within the drone. These are their communication relays. If we can create a jamming signal, we might be able to disrupt their entire network. Alex, watching from the observation deck, felt a surge of hope. How long to get it operational? He asked. A few hours if we work fast, Alara replied, her determination unwavering. As the hours passed, the lab buzzed with activity. Engineers and scientists collaborated, their efforts focused on a single goal. Finally, as dawn approached, Alara stood before the assembled team, holding a small device triumphantly. This jammer should interfere with their network, she explained. It's not a permanent solution, but it could give us the upper hand in the next battle. Alex nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. Then let's get it deployed, he said. Every second counts. The tension in the air was palpable as the team prepared for the next phase of their fight. They were no longer on the defensive, they had a plan, and with it, a glimmer of hope. As the first light of day broke over the horizon, Alex knew that the war for Earth was far from over, but they had taken a crucial step toward victory. With the jammer in hand and a new strategy in place, the stage was set for the next confrontation. The battle had just begun, but humanity was ready to fight back with everything it had. The captured drone emitted a low hum, its metallic surface shimmering as Alara and her team approached it cautiously. In the lab's sterile, fluorescent-lit atmosphere, tension hung thick in the air. The device that could turn the tide of war was finally within their grasp. Captain Alex Mercer watched from the observation deck, his eyes locked on the proceedings below. The war against the Zorathians had taken a heavy toll, but this breakthrough provided a glimmer of hope. He couldn't afford to let it slip away. All right, let's get this thing open, Alara said, her voice firm. She directed her team with precision, their movements a choreographed dance of scientific expertise. With careful hands, they pried open the drone's casing, revealing a tangle of alien technology. We need to isolate the communication relays, Alara instructed, her eyes scanning the intricate machinery. That's where we'll find their weakness. The team worked swiftly, extracting the components and analyzing the data. Hours passed, the lab a hive of activity. The constant hum of machines and the soft click of keyboards underscored the urgency of their task. Finally, Alara's face lit up with a triumphant smile. I've got it, she exclaimed. These nodes are their primary communication hubs. If we disrupt these, we can throw their entire network into chaos. Alex leaned closer, his interest piqued. How soon can we get this operational? Alara looked up, determination burning in her eyes. We can have a prototype ready in a few hours. But we'll need to test it in the field to be sure. Then we'll do it tonight, Alex replied without hesitation. We can't afford to wait. The scene shifted to a dark, desolate urban landscape. The mission was set in the ruins of what was once a bustling city, now reduced to rubble by the Zorathian assault. Alex and his team moved silently through the debris, their footsteps muffled by the ash-covered ground. Eyes open, everyone, Alex whispered through his comms. We need to get this jammer in place without drawing attention. They reached the designated site, an old industrial building offering a clear line of sight to the Zorathian mothership hovering ominously in the distance. Elara set up the jammer, her fingers moving with practiced efficiency. Jammer is ready, she said, her voice tight with anticipation. Activating now. A high-pitched whine filled the air as the jammer powered up. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The Zorathian drones, previously hovering with menacing precision, began to falter, their movements erratic. It's working! Elara shouted, unable to contain her excitement. Their network is destabilizing! But their victory was short-lived. The Zorathian mothership responded with brutal efficiency, launching a barrage of counterattacks. Explosions rocked the ground, and the team found themselves under heavy fire. Fall back! Regroup! Alex ordered, his voice cutting through the chaos. They retreated to a safer position, but not without sustaining casualties. Back at the Pentagon, the mood was somber but determined. The jammer had worked, proving that the Zorathians could be disrupted. Yet the cost had been high, and the fight was far from over. Elara approached Alex, her face lined with exhaustion but her spirit unbroken. We've shown it's possible, she said. Now we just need to refine it. Alex nodded, a fierce resolve in his eyes. We'll hit them harder next time. We're getting closer, Elara. I can feel it. The ground shook violently as the first wave of explosions erupted, casting a red glow over the horizon. Captain Alex Mercer sprinted through the chaos, his breath ragged, the weight of his duty pressing down on him. The Zorathians had launched an all-out assault, their mothership looming ominously over the city, unleashing devastation with ruthless precision. Get to your positions! Alex barked into his comms, his voice steely and commanding. His team moved with practiced efficiency, setting up defensive lines and preparing for the inevitable onslaught. The air was thick with the acrid smell of burning debris and the distant screams of the wounded. Dr. Elara Bennett, huddled in a makeshift command center, furiously typed commands into a console. The jammer's ready, she announced, her voice trembling with both fear and determination. But we need to get closer to the mothership to maximize its effectiveness. Alex nodded, his jaw set. We'll make it happen. Everyone, prepare for the final push. This is our chance to turn the tide. The team advanced, weaving through the shattered remnants of the city. Each step was a testament to their resolve, their faces grim but resolute. As they neared the mothership, the Zorathian drones swarmed, their metallic forms glinting menacingly in the firelight. Cover me! Alex shouted, firing his rifle with deadly accuracy. His team responded in kind, laying down a barrage of suppressive fire that cleared a path forward. Elara, carrying the jammer, followed closely behind, her heart pounding in her chest. They reached the designated spot, an old skyscraper's rooftop offering a clear view of the mothership. Here goes nothing, Elara muttered, activating the jammer. A high-pitched whine filled the air, and the effect was immediate. The Zorathian drones faltered, their movements becoming erratic. It's working! Elara exclaimed, a triumphant smile breaking through her fear. But the victory was short-lived. The mothership adjusted its strategy, releasing a second wave of drones, this time targeting the jammer's location. Alex's eyes widened in horror as he realized the imminent danger. Get down! He roared, tackling Elara to the ground just as a drone's laser beam sliced through the air where she had stood. The rooftop exploded in a shower of concrete and metal, the impact throwing Alex and Elara to the edge. Groaning, Alex pushed himself up, pain searing through his side. We need to hold them off until the jammer disrupts their mainframe, he gasped, clutching his wound. Elara nodded, her eyes fierce with determination. We can do this, Alex. We have to. Summoning the last of their strength, Alex and his team fought valiantly, every shot a defiance against the encroaching darkness. The drones' numbers dwindled, their coordination collapsing under the jammer's relentless interference. Finally, with a deafening roar, the Zorathian mothership's systems overloaded, sparking explosions rippling across its surface. The colossal vessel began to descend, crashing into the ruins below with an earth-shattering impact. Silence followed, a stark contrast to the earlier cacophony. Alex staggered to his feet, surveying the scene. The Zorathian threat was neutralized, but the cost had been high. He glanced at Alara, who managed a weary smile. "We did it," she whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. Alex nodded, his expression a mix of relief and sorrow. "We did. And we'll rebuild. Together."